I am left with a Switch that smells like a campfire and is about as useful for gaming as one is as well.
Non-apologetic
Nonsense.
Bad news for me. I have burnt up my Nintendo Switch 2 and it looks as if I will not be able to get it warranted. Let me tell you what happened. For me, the Switch has always just been a Metroidvania player, right? You're not playing like a real game on the Switch, but when I play like a Metroidvania, I like to do it on the handheld, right? So I'm playing this cheap little game, Hunter X. Crazy coincidence, I was actually about to walk into what I think was the final boss fight, right? The battery indicator pops up, you have 20% or less battery left. So I grabbed the cable that came with the Switch 2 and I plug it in. About 2 minutes later, I start to smell something. Anyone who's ever had electronics burn up know what that smell is, right? It's the smell of your money being burnt. So I immediately save, I shut the console. Well, if we want to call it a console, I shut the Switch down and I go to sit it down, right? And I put my hand on the charging cable right on the brick. You have the cable and then it's like the fat block right before the USB-C connection. That thing is on fire. It is just hot. So I get another whiff of that electronics burning. So I unplug it, I lay it down and I go about my day. I come back to it a couple hours later and I try to put the Switch on the dock, except I don't get the charging indicator popping up, right? Bad sign. So I grab another USB-C cable and I go ahead and plug it in, still no charging. I try to go into safe mode, can't charge in there. I tried holding down the power button for the hard reset, that did nothing. I reinitialized the console, right? That did nothing. So I went online and I started seeing if anyone else has had this issue. And apparently this is a huge issue all the way back with the original Switch. Then the OLED, whatever they call the mini Switch, the one with the permanent Joy-Cons, and into the Switch 2. And it's just kind of infuriating because this is more of the Nintendo slop, right? It's them knowing that a lot of their fan base now is older with disposable income and they have them nostalgia glasses, right? We'll buy anything Nintendo puts out, it doesn't matter. It reminds me of like Disney adults, right? People making minimum wage who will save all year long so they could be at the Magic Kingdom when the, what do they call it? Rope drop. So it'll be like a 48-year-old woman in a $12 Walmart princess costume just crying. It's Mickey. Nintendo fans are very similar. Now me, I grew up with Mario. Love Mario. Love him to death. Hell of a plumber. But that's where it ends with me, right? I have no allegiance or ties to Nintendo. So back to the story. I'm not able to get it warranted through Nintendo because Nintendo, most brands, they're real picky about buying from an authorized retailer. So you need to buy from like a big box store. You need to buy from Walmart, Target, Best Buy, to get warranted. I bought it new on eBay from an electronics store. I've been buying from this guy for years. I mean, I think I bought a PS3 from him. That's how far back it goes. But it was a new sealed console. And like I say, this is apparently a fairly common issue. But Nintendo has all but washed their hands of it. And they did tell me that they had not heard of this issue. And I spoke to two, say that one more time. I spoke to deuce different people. But yet, like I say, when I went to Google it, it was endless results from Reddit, from YouTube of just, this happened to me, how do I fix it? And really the fix is opening it up, replacing the little board or resoldering the charging port. Now, there are repair services, right? Like where you can pay like $60 or so. They'll repair it. But the problem is, if you've opened it up yourself, they won't touch it. None of those guys will. So that limits me from trying to repair it myself. While I've never repaired a Switch, I've always repaired my consoles or cell phones. I was taking apart Blackberries back in the day to put different keyboards on them. I was taking apart my PSP when I was a child so I could mod it and put new cases and shells on it. I'm pretty good with it, so that may be the route I have to go. But it is crazy that a brand new console has this issue, A, and B, it was an existing issue with their previous hardware. Same thing with stick drift, Nintendo is the most anti-consumer company. It just doesn't matter to them. Like the Switch 2, for example, is what we should have gotten for the Switch 1. Whatever cell phone you had in 2017, there's a high probability that that thing was more powerful than the Switch 1 was when it came out. Everything they do is always 5-10 years behind the curve, but everyone eats it up. They'll buy 12 pairs of Joy-Cons throughout the life of it and just love it to death. I can't use Joy-Cons myself. Not for that reason, but it would be like gaming on a TV remote. You know what I'm saying? So I buy these big, more like console ends that I think they call them the Hori Split Pad Pro or Switch Pad Pro. They're amazing, by the way. Some of the best, trigger buttons in anything. But yeah, I just got done repairing a PS5 controller. See, me, I never really had a problem with stick drift on PlayStation, but I wind up breaking the triggers, a little housing that they ride on, or pop that little spring out of place. And I think it's because I play Souls-likes. So I'm like so into it that I'm just jamming down on that thing, eventually just swing that axe a little bit too hard. I'm wanting to distance myself more and more so from Nintendo, especially now with them trying to set the new industry standard of $80, $90 games. And that's not even just first party games. You got PlayStation coming out with a dozen first party games a year, whereas Nintendo, you get one every 5 years and they hold their retail costs forever. I mean, you got games that are 10 years old from Nintendo that are still holding that launch day price. Look at Breath of the Wild. I saw an ad when I was shopping for that Metroidvania just the other day, where you can get Breath of the Wild for Switch 2 for $69.99. And even that, they pushed that as a launch title on the Switch 1. Everybody thinks that the Switch game, really, it came out for the previous console from Nintendo, like Wii U. Whatever it was. So you're still getting day one prices for now 3 generations of consoles. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Like I say, you got the same issues with the board burning up, same issues with Joy-Con, barely even an 8% power jump. I don't know. I think I'm about done with Nintendo. You know what I saw? Y'all see this? Valve is going to come out with the what do they call it? The Steam box, Steam Toolbox, whatever, which is essentially a console that'll play all Switch games, all Steam games. And I know people will say just build a PC, but I never wanted to get into the PC gaming world where I constantly have to put money in, whereas like a PlayStation, I buy a PS5 for $500, and as long as the house doesn't get hit by lightning or something, that PS5 is going to last me for the whole generation, 8 years. So if I could get something where I can play all the Steam titles that I don't have to upgrade, don't have to mess with, and the settings are actually good, I'm all about that. That is an idea, and I can put the money I would put towards a Switch, because I don't know if I'm going that route anymore, into Valve's option, But alas, I am left with a Switch that smells like a campfire and is about as useful for gaming as one is as well. We'll see what happens, but I have lost all faith in Nintendo. How the mighty have fallen, the giant needs to be slayed.